I'm sure you already have in place a whole lot of different initiatives that are high value for new people joining your business and for your current team members. One of the things that we really want to focus on in the next 4 episodes is what we call an employee value proposition. Now, an employee value proposition is also shortened down to an EVP. This is your compelling, unique identifier that's going to give you a competitive advantage. Sarah and I talk about you can replicate products, services, you can't replicate culture and people. Now, one of the key things as business leaders and as organisation is to make sure that we really engage and connect with our teams. Now, one thing we also want to do is make sure that we're attracting amazing people into our businesses. Now, with an EVP, a really robust and comprehensive one, this is 100% centric on your team members. Nothing about your business, it's 100% on them. Now, the great thing about these are they make sure that they spotlight the employee and taking those individual initiatives that you have, that you offer your team members, funneling them into one phenomenal advantage point that you can then promote and utilize as an attraction and a sustainability, a connection and engagement tool.
And one of the first areas that we're going to talk to you about that sits within the EVP is the environment. And as Kirsten said, what we're focusing on is around maximising the opportunity for our people. And the first thing we need to think about when we look at our environment is around our business structure. So as much as we talk about it not being about the business, actually, if we don't get our business structures right, there are a lot of other knock-on effects that we actually can't activate within the EVP. So we need to make sure that we've got the right roles in the right places, reporting to the right people in order to get work done in our businesses. And people might sit there and go, yes, Sarah, but that's quite logical. And it probably is to a lot of people, but lots of businesses grow very, very fast, especially in this day and age of entrepreneurs coming out and actually just giving so many initiatives a go. And so what happens is we bring more people in, we bring more people in, we bring more people in. And often we don't find we've got that really high level of structure around who's doing what in the organization. And then what happens when we get down to a role level or a position level is there isn't a lot of role clarity around what I do in my job and what's expected of me. And that's what the knock-on effect is when we don't have really strong and clear business structures. And one of the things we have to think about when we're looking at creating position descriptions and we're actually building people into businesses is making sure we've got a couple of components really clear about those roles. The first one is my role autonomous? So if we think about how much flexibility and freedom the person has around, scheduling their own work procedures and doing their own work in their own time. So it's not about not doing work, but it's actually about having that flexibility to do it as and when, your mood suits and when it works for you. Another part of our role clarity needs to be around variety. Most of us don't like doing the same thing over and over again. We find it a bit mundane and boring. So we need to be able to utilize all of those amazing skills and experiences that we're bringing to the business and actually put them into play. That's notwithstanding the fact we have some things that we do have to do over and over again, but we do need some variety in our positions as well. The other one of the other key components of looking at role clarity is around challenge. So how difficult is my job to do? And actually, can I do it from start to finish, or do I need to get in some help along the way? And do I need to do that sometimes, most of the time, or always? So being very clear around how difficult a role is helps create some very clear role clarity. And the last one is around, that I just want to share today, is actually around the importance. Is it obvious how my work contributes to the team and actually the overall purpose and vision of the business? Can I as an individual, and actually can other people around me, see the connection of what I'm doing and actually how it's then contributing to the bigger picture? These also, when we have really great role clarity, this also helps those future forward conversations. It means we can have really purposeful conversations around how's the last month or week gone, where are we going next, and actually what information do I need and what growth do I need in order to achieve those goals that are coming up. So what we'd like you to do is to actually just brainstorm all of your key structures and just spotlight a couple of them. Just make sure all of those positions are actually doing the things that you need them to do, and they're meaningful and they're autonomous and there's loads of variety sitting in them and they're challenging, and actually the people can see the importance of them. So that's our challenge to you.
Sarah just took you through what we call the environment pillar. Now, there are 7 pillars that Sarah and I are going to take you through over the next 4 episodes. So with environment, you can already see there are so many amazing things that you will be doing within your business, that when you actually package them together just in that one pillar, how amazing that would actually be to have those conversations. Now, the pillar I'm going to focus on now is what we call onboarding and the recruitment piece. Now, the interesting thing with this pillar is that when you have a really robust, comprehensive and compelling EVP, this process is so easy to do because you're attracting top talent into your business, the people whose values, beliefs, their growth strategy, their capability, their capacity, their aspirations are aligned to your business, because EVPs create the most phenomenal noise out there in the marketplace. So if you create an amazing noise piece out there in the market and you're disrupting it because what you're offering is actually bigger, better, and actually communicated really, really well, then great people will want to come and work for your organization. So use an EVP as an attraction tool. And as you're doing this, because it's creating that noise and it's been communicated, then when you go into the recruitment piece, then guess what? All of a sudden, this part's easier, but make sure that you're communicating your EVP, your employee value proposition, all the different pillars that Sarah and I are going to take you through. Pull out what's really important. And one of the key questions that we always like people to ask in an interview situation is, what are you looking for from an organization and a role? And when you really find out what their drivers, their motivators are for coming to work with you, then you can actually then just pick out of your EVP, what are the priority ones that are absolutely critical to that particular person? Because when we go through these 7 pillars, there's so much to talk about. You haven't got time. So you want to make sure that you're matching what you actually provide with what are the drivers for that particular person. And the second piece of this particular pillar is all around the onboarding. So that's making sure from the get-go, that's the time that they sign that contract, their onboarding will start. And then what you're doing is you're articulating and bringing in all the initiatives that you're providing in your EVP, and you're including that into the onboarding process. Now, this is so important, and I'm actually going to just share with you a quick example of a hairdresser who, over COVID, went through from going through it with making their team members work all weekends like they normally do and have a Sunday, Monday off. They've actually disrupted. They've re-looked at their EVP. They've gone down to a 4-day week and disrupted their particular industry. And people are just like wowed by it. And their team are better connected, have a greater sense of belonging, because they realise that that pillar of their EVP is absolutely important to them.
So today we've shared with you the first 2 pillars in the EVP. One is around the environment, which is around your business structures and role clarity, and the second around your recruiting and onboarding. So what 2 actions are you going to take away from what we've shared with you today and apply in your business? We look forward to sharing our next couple of pillars with you in our next episode.